For more reaction now, let's go to our panel of politicians. Joining me from Business, the Small Business Minister, Craig Emerson, and from Melbourne, the Liberal Senator and Parliamentary Secretary for Disabilities, Mitch Fifield. Good morning to you both. Craig Emerson, let's start with you. Voters were kinder to Labor than the Prime Minister expected. Why do you think that was?
We've believed that the polls would tighten in an election year, and the reality from this poll is that if just 2 or 3 out of every 100 Australians change their vote, then Tony Abbott is Prime Minister and WorkChoices is back. We don't need polls, Ashley, to tell us that we need to get back to basics, and that's what the Prime Minister is doing with the national curriculum launch yesterday with Julia Gillard, and with a health policy coming out in the fairly near future. So it is a matter of getting back to basics, but this isn't a surprise to us, and Kevin Rudd really foreshadowed that there would be tightening in the polls.
Craig Emerson, the mere fact that you mentioned WorkChoices in the first sentence of your answer then makes me think that you might be a bit worried, because support for Tony Abbott is climbing steadily. The Prime Minister certainly seems to be a bit rattled by that.
Oh, well, it's just a reality. This poll suggests that we're at 52-48%. I don't want to over-diagnose polls. They do come and go, but we have said that they would tighten, and I think the Australian people probably understand that if there's a small shift of 2 to 3 in 100 Australians towards Tony Abbott, then they will get WorkChoices. This is the guy who said, just after he was elected, he said the name WorkChoices is dead. His colleagues before him, before he became leader, were all declaring hand on heart that WorkChoices is dead. When he gets asked, he says the name WorkChoices is dead, but they're going to bring back, remove unfair dismissal protections for 2 million or more working Australians. They're talking about reducing or getting rid of penalty rates and putting people back on individual contracts. That's WorkChoices. Well,
of course, the Coalition is yet to unveil its industrial relations policy, so we don't actually know what the Coalition is going to do.
Well, we do, Ashley.
In that area.
They've made those commitments. They have made those commitments already to individual contracts. Tony Abbott has absolutely said that he will remove unfair dismissal protections for people working in small businesses, and that's more than 2 million working Australians. He's already made those commitments, and his deputy has said that these penalty rates need to go down or be wiped out. So that's the core of WorkChoices.
OK, well, it's only fair to let Mitch Fifield respond to some of those comments about WorkChoices. And also, Mitch, it does seem clear to me from my conversations with Coalition MPs that confidence levels are up in the Coalition despite that turmoil last year. It seems like you have got your act together a bit. The party's looking a lot more united under Tony Abbott. Are you confident that the sort of polls we've seen today and over the recent weeks are a sort of trend that Mr Abbott will just continue to get more and more support from here?
Sure, I'll address that, Ashley, but I can't let Craig's comments on industrial relations go unchallenged. All Tony Abbott has said...
Not my comments, Mitch. They're Tony Abbott's.
OK, Mitch Fifield, let's hear from you.
All Tony Abbott has reiterated is the Coalition's fundamental commitment to the right of an individual to sell their labour on terms acceptable to them. And that's all individual contracts are, and the Coalition has always been committed to reasonable unfair dismissal laws that don't unjustly penalise small business. Now, those two things are elements of our industrial relations policy which long predate WorkChoices. So WorkChoices is dead, but our commitment to a better and freer and fairer labour market remains. Ashley, in relation to the poll, obviously the trend is encouraging. I think it partly reflects the opposition's decision at the end of last year to adopt a new leader, a new policy and a new attitude. But I think it also reflects the growing realisation that this is a government that just can't get anything right, whether it be health, whether it be rolling out free pink bats, whether it be Julia Gillard Memorial School halls. This government bungles, it wastes money and it breaks promises. And it's clearly a case of spin over substance, as we've been saying for quite some time. In fact, so much spinning that you could say that this government is spinning out of control. The trend is encouraging in the polls, but we're still behind. We've still got a lot of hard work to do, and you'd have to say that the government at this stage are still the favourites.
Mitch Fifield, could this just be a bit of a honeymoon for Tony Abbott, though? Some